Is it safe to travel to Saudi Arabia without a tour group? I heard it's no problem at all, but is that really true? I was there in early summer, not during the main season, not backpacking, but with a suitcase. It was my 20-year-old daughter and me, and to say it right from the start, no, it was not dangerous, although we are both blonde and look very European. Saudi Airlines flies non-stop from Frankfurt to Jeddah. What I hadn't considered, our first day in Jeddah was a Friday, which is a very important day for the Muslims. We had to rearrange our plans in the morning because, except for this fish market, everything was closed until the early evening. If you haven't seen something like this, it's definitely worth a visit. There was a lot going on. Outside, on the other hand, it looked like this. Empty, totally deserted. In the early evening, it was quite different, especially at the Corniche. I won't go into the classic tourist program now. You can get enough information about that, and everybody has different interests. But sculptures like this one are rarely mentioned. Too bad, actually. We were very impressed. In the evening, Jeddah came to life. We really like the city, and if then even the muezzin calls, the atmosphere gets very special.
There? Go to there for King Fahad?
Yeah.
That's good.
In Jeddah, we always took an Uber. All the drivers were super friendly and reliable, and despite some communication problems, we usually ended up where we wanted to go and enjoyed some very good food. Only the first day, something went completely wrong. Originally, we wanted to go to a sculpture park. Obviously, there was a little misunderstanding. We didn't see much of the old town. Renovations were going on everywhere. We could have visited some of the houses, but the opening hours seemed to be a bit flexible, at least in the low season. But the spices, the smell, the colors, walking through a bazaar is always a great experience in the Arabic countries. On the way to the train station, another spectacular work of art on a roundabout. And then the surprise. A super modern train station. Wow. We took the express train from Jeddah to Medina. The ride takes about 2 hours. First thing we were told when we arrived at the hotel, in the holy city you are not allowed to go outside without an abaya, but they kindly gave us some. Tying the headscarf so it doesn't slip is not that easy, at least for the untrained ones like us, but thankfully we got help. In the end, I have to say, I was really happy with my abaya. It made me feel much more comfortable in this holy city, especially when we stood in front of the big mosque for the evening prayer. You should definitely go. As non-Muslims, we were not allowed in the mosque, but it was still a very special experience because the atmosphere was so intense. Thanks to Google, we always had great restaurant recommendations. The only struggle was the communication, which got slightly difficult sometimes.
Fry the bread. Because bread will be bread. Bread.
Yeah. Like this and
This and the bread. It's okay?
no, not bread. This is the bread.
For free. Bread for free. That's the bread. Ja, كده صح؟
About yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
The Quran printing house was also very interesting. Around 20 million books are printed here every year. However, visitors can only look from above, partly because the books are not supposed to be touched without a washing. Each Quran is examined word for printing errors, quite a task. And at the exit, every Muslim gets a Quran as a gift. Among other things, we then visited the only mosque where people pray in two different directions towards Mecca and Jerusalem. And with some snacks, we then headed towards Al-Ula. From Medina on, we had a driver. Theoretically, we could have rented a car or driven ourselves. Meanwhile, that is possible. But somehow I wasn't sure if this is a good idea. Looking back, I have to say, it wouldn't have been a problem at all, but on the other hand, with the driver we saved time because he took us where we wanted to go, and thanks to him, we could concentrate on the spectacular landscape. The Elephant Rock, of course, is a must. Just like Madain Saleh, but no one misses that out anyway. Luckily, we were there in the low season. I don't want to know what it is like in the high season. There were so many parking spaces. And then an absolute highlight came up, at least for me. I hadn't expected the Moriah Concert Hall to be so spectacular. First, you don't even see it, but suddenly it appears out of nowhere. I have never seen anything like this before. To get into the area, you have to pay an entrance fee, but be aware, in bad weather, it's not nearly as impressive from what I have heard. But if it's sunny, I would come back straight away. We continued via the antique city of Al-Ula towards the Madakhil Valley. By the way, you don't have to worry about not seeing any camels. They are everywhere. Hardly anyone is gonna miss this probably. What a scenery, especially in the early evening light. Another experience we surely won't forget is this. Our driver had some bread. And as I said, they are everywhere. On day 5, we drove about 450 kilometers through the desert. Pretty monotonous, but yet somehow special because the monotony gives you a feeling for the endless expanse of the desert. The only change was this roadblock by climate activists of a different kind. Our next destination, the rock carvings of Juba. Be sure to organize a guide ahead. You get more out of it. He explains the meaning of the drawings, or, for example, that images from several millennia can be seen on one rock.
6,000 BC, 2,000 BC, maybe 1,000 BC.
Or why some images are sideways. The rock probably fell later during an earthquake. Or that this is a boomerang. I wouldn't have realized that without help either.
Boomerang.
Boomerang, yes, yeah.
Relaxing in the gold souk of Ha'il. We had to take a break there and stay overnight because our next destination, the camel market of Buraida, would have been too far for a one-day trip. For the camel market, you should get up early. We were there before 7 a.m. It was already very busy and no tourists. Some of the camels are sold in auctions. I was told a good camel costs around 2,000 euro. A good camel, what I heard, is strong and has a long neck. This is my second camel market, and again it was a great experience. And I have to say, the animals are really funny. And then it was time to sit in the car for another 6 hours. We could have saved ourselves 2.5 hours if we had gone straight to Riyadh. But I still wanted to see the edge of the world. Be aware, at some point there are no more signs like this one here. Orientation gets quite a challenge. And even with a four-wheel drive, it can get difficult. But we made it, although we had to get out of the car several times to look for the best way. The last part, you simply had to walk. It was quite hazy that day, but still an impressive experience that I don't want to miss. In Riyadh, we had organized everything by ourselves again. Of course, such a trip only gives a superficial impression, but at least it gives an impression of a country that is discussed quite a lot. Here again, all Uber drivers were super friendly, and once we even had a female driver. And like before, really good restaurants. We had a great trip until the last day, because Riyadh by day and Riyadh by night is also a highlight you shouldn't miss out.